Well, hello everybody. How we all doing? It's Tuesday in the universe, and yeah, life's good, right? It's been another lovely day here in New Jersey. No, that's not sarcastic. Where's everybody tuning in from? Say hi in the chat. Don't be shy. Let me know where you're coming in from. So while we're getting started, so last time I ran into some technical issues with the rig. My MIDI controller was being weird. I figured out later that was why my Rhodes and actually all the keyboard patches were acting super strange, and I figured out it was turn off the keyboard, turn it back on again, you know. That did it. It's back in action. Life is good. Everything's happy. And what else was weird? Oh yeah, my looper was being a pooper instead of a looper, and I figured out what the issue was with that. Gosh, Google is great. It's great to be able to just look it up and go, oh, it's just that. So hopefully tonight will be more a little smoother and free of technical nonsense. We can just do some music, because I like music. I don't know about you, but I really do. It's the best. So I think what I'm going to do right now is start off with the one I was trying to do last time when I had some technical hiccups. And we'll see if we can have a little more luck with it, because I was really looking forward to playing Watermelon Man. And I was getting into it, and then my world came crashing down on me, and or my computer did anyway. Decided not to cooperate. It was not feeling Herbie Hancock for whatever reason. So, as I said at the time, some days the horn wins, some days the gear wins, but we work and we practice to try to not have to fight our gear, not have to fight our tools. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give that a shot. Sorry, just putting out one more little message to let folks know I'm on. And I'm now doing cable management too. Thinking about getting myself a wireless pack so I don't have to fight my cables all the time. It's super annoying. 'Cause I have a rolly chair, and my rolly chair likes to eat my cables. It's not my favorite thing in the world, I'm not gonna lie. All right. Yeah. Let's do some funk. Enough spacey, sleepy music. Time for some funk. Yeah, let's see. How do we? Yeah. Already going better than last time. Yeah, folks, how are we all doing? How's it sound out there? Does it sound okay? Seems like the rig is working better than last time, so that's a step in the right direction for sure. Most importantly, I'm able to make eighth notes float behind me. I don't know why I find that so fascinating. And I think I said that last time. I've probably said it a few times. I just think that that's super cool. I have space behind me. And then I can also have other stuff just floating randomly. It's pretty groovy. See, like that. I didn't even do that one. That was pretty cool. Do some keys. Might be fun. Hey, Daisy. Nice to see ya. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's good to see you again. How's things in Nebraska, right? That's where you tuning in from? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go ahead and clear that out too. I'm going to start like it just, whoops. There we go. There we go. My one loop didn't want to die. Yeah. Huh. Do something a little faster. Yeah, thanks, Dream Mama. I think that was working all right. Yeah, Daisy. So this is all made up on the spot. It's like Whose Line Is It Anyway? You know, where everything's made up and the points don't matter. So yeah, so all this I just played, like all of it. None of it's pre-recorded at all. I'm looking at maybe using backing tracks for stuff because it would give me some more options. But yeah, as of right now, I'll play the individual loops. So this is beatbox and tambourine. That's the first thing I lay down. That sets the tempo. The way my setup works, I have it set up so the first loop you play sets the tempo, and then all the other loops automatically sync with whatever the first thing is you play. It's kind of how a lot of hardware loopers work, actually, which is super slick. It's really handy because you can get a tempo going on the first loop, like with this, and then any other loop you lay down will do a multiple of that loop. So this is just a 1-bar loop, and then I can play any combination of like a 4-bar loop or an 8-bar loop. Generally, I wouldn't do like a 3-bar or a 5-bar, but it depends musically what you want to do. So this is the first loop. This is beatbox and tambourine by itself. Then this is a synth line that I played on the keyboard down here. Just like an analog bass patch. And then here's my harmony. This is my Rhodes. Some little stabs. And last but not least, turn them on. This is horns. So I just played these one at a time and overdubbed each one. And again, once you set how long the loop is going to be, then you can overdub over the top of it. So it's cool. With my setup, I have 6 little looper plugins within my software. I'm using MainStage and Super Looper together. So that's basically my whole rig. Here's the whole thing. Yeah, so that's how I do it. I do a little more in-depth stuff, and I'm actually just starting to do some more in-depth explanations and like tutorials and walkthroughs and that kind of stuff. I'm just starting to do some more of that stuff over on my Patreon page. So that's something you can check out if you're interested. On Patreon, you can basically pledge as little as $1 a month. You can actually just follow me. You can follow for free on Patreon as well. But if you want to start getting like the benefits, early access to downloads, early access to like exclusive downloads, early access to videos, behind the scenes stuff. Some people get like rough drafts of things as I'm like making them as they're in progress for like my more produced videos. That stuff is all like more at the higher, different tier levels, all the way up to like having a one-on-one, video chat lesson kind of thing, which is the benefit that's at my highest tier level for Patreon. Anyway, shameless plug. Oh yeah, Band-in-a-Box is great. I used to use that all the time. I actually use iReal Pro a lot more now. iReal Pro is cool because it's for the computer and also for phone or tablet. So you can take your files. If you're going out to a jam session, you can load your files as a little security blanket in case you're like, as I talked about in my last stream or previously about the phenomenon that if you're a jazz musician and you go to a jam session, one of the things that's kind of like almost inevitable is you're going to show up to a jam session. First of all, you're going to show up to a jam session and everyone is going to go, okay, what tune do you want to play? And I can't speak for everybody else. I think everyone's had this moment before. But I know I do all the time. You go to a jam session and the time comes to call a tune and go, okay, what do we want to play? We're going to play On Green Dolphin Street, or we're going to play All the Things You Are, or we're going to play something else. And that's the moment when my mind goes like prodigiously empty. It's kind of like the scene, if you've seen the Lego movie, where they're like showing how empty Emmett's mind is. That's my brain when someone says, what tune are we playing next? It's like I've never played a song before and I've never heard of music even. It's the strangest phenomenon. And then, because I invariably get hung up on, if you're at a jam session, like you usually hang out for a couple of tunes and listen before you get up and play. And so for me, I'm invariably like listening to the previous tune and I'm super into it. And then like, it's like a clean slate. As soon as that tune ends, then my mind starts racing like, oh, here we go again. We're going to do the thing where we forget that we have ever heard any music before. Anyway, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I know for sure that happens to me at least once every time I go to a jam session or something like that. Oh, what do you want to play? I don't know. What do you want to play? Well, I don't know. What do you want to play? And so we stand there and do that for a couple minutes. By the way, Dream Mama, that's a super cool emote. I gotta figure out what's that one. Cool Cat. Okay, that's going in the rotation too. That one? Yeah, there it is. What's better than one cool cat? A whole bunch of them. Cool Cats in Space. I want to get the Cat Jam one, but I don't think... Yeah, that one I think that one has to be like unlocked or something. It's like a channel specific or something. I'm still figuring out Twitch, but yeah, Band in a Box is super cool. Anyway, I kind of talked in a circle there. Band in a Box is super cool, and I use that at home because Band in a Box is great because you can make some pretty nice like produced sounding stuff out of it. Like it puts out some great. It has a lot of different styles and a lot of different options, and you can, if you want to get super fancy, you can take your Band in a Box, files that it makes, and then you can drop those into Logic or Pro Tools or, Reaper or whatever DAW you might have, a digital audio workstation you might have, and then you can go nuts with it and make like a full-on. But yeah, I've used Band in a Box for quite a few things like that, where it's like I need to have a track and I need to like whip something up really fast, and then I'll dump that into Logic or something and sort of like edit the MIDI and edit the audio and make it sound polished a little bit. So, but yeah, for learning tunes and for like just kind of practicing and stuff like that, I actually prefer iReal Pro now. It doesn't sound nearly as good as Band in a Box. It's way more basic in terms of the sounds, but in terms of just the versatility and being able to take it on your phone, being able to take it wherever you are, it's great for plugging a set of chord changes into something and kind of like, if you're composing or something and you want to come up with a new set of changes just out of nowhere, it's great for kind of visualizing how they flow and stuff. It's pretty cool. So iReal Pro is nifty too. But yeah, I've used Band in a Box for a lot of years. It's also a great piece of great piece of software. And yes, I actually am on Instagram, and I will throw that up here in the chat. You can follow me there if you like. I generally, I guess I could go live on Instagram as well. You're limited there to an hour, and then it cuts you off, I think. So it's just like I'm already on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch all at the same time. So adding another thing into the mix is just like, I can't deal with it. But yes, I am on Instagram. I'll put that in the link. Oops.com/let's. Any typos in there? No, miraculously. There it is. There's my Instagram. So feel free to follow me. And I might follow you back too. Yeah, that was a fun little jam. That was a little bit similar to, I actually tried out another piece of, while we're on the subject of software, I guess. There's a piece of software that I've been playing with called JamKazam, and it's really slick because it allows long distance collaboration. So if you are, you have to be kind of in the same geographical region as the person you want to jam with, but it's a little bit like, Skype or Google Meet or Zoom or, those things that have obviously proliferated since we've been in the pandemic, and everybody's working from home and remote meeting and all that stuff. Um, but those all share the same weakness. Google Meet and Zoom and Skype and all those will share the same weakness in terms of music, which is that it mutes the other person when when one person is talking. It mutes everybody else because it's designed for meetings for people to talk to each other. And of course, under normal circumstances, you're not going to want to hear a whole bunch of people all talking over each other. It just picks basically, I think, whoever's the loudest, or I'm not sure how it picks, but it picks one person and prioritizes them and mutes everybody else's mic, which is great for conversations. Music, obviously, not so much. And to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, if someone's in the chat and knows otherwise, because I'm always looking for new toys and new ways to connect and collaborate and stuff. But to my knowledge, there isn't any way around that with Skype or, Google Meet or Zoom or any of the other. Blue Jeans, I think, is another one. I'm not aware of any way around that. So this program called JamKazam allows you to actually make music with another person. And it's free. It's, kind of written as a labor of love. This program is kind of made as a labor of love by a whole bunch of, musicians that want to collaborate that can't be physically present with each other. And it's pretty slick. What made me think of that is Christopher Bill, who probably, if you know me, you almost certainly know Chris Bill, but just in case you somehow know who I am and you don't know who he is, Chris is amazing. He's I think the most subscribed brass player on YouTube. He's awesome. Great player, great musician, great writer, and just a super cool human being as well. Just a great fella. And so he and I the other day, we've been going back and forth of, hey, let's try JamKazam, because he's not far from me. He lives just north of New York City, and I live west of New York City, and we're probably, I don't know, like 60 miles apart or something. So it's not too bad of a distance. So the other day we had a little jam, and this jam, these loops that are going on are sort of based on an idea that he kind of played, and then I kind of played off of it, and we sort of played off of each other and came up with this little groove. And so this is kind of like a rough approximation of what we did the other day. But I'm actually working right now on editing that, because we both recorded, or we both thought we were recording. The recording thing didn't work out the way I thought it was going to, but I'm going to try to salvage it, because there was some really cool stuff in there. And I'm working on that, and I'm editing it. And that's going to be a Patreon exclusive. That'll be something that my patrons get to check out as soon as I'm able to get it all put together and try to salvage what I can out of it. Because, as I said, the recording didn't do what it was supposed to do. JamKazam's really cool, but it's rough around the edges, and it's very much it has a very beta feel to it. But as I said, it's a free piece of software, and it's written by these folks as a labor of love. So it's awesome that it exists, and it's really cool to have it. So anyhow, that's where this little jam came from. Partially from him, partially from me, and we had some fun with it.
Should I talk like this?
Or could just do super creepy deep voice. Hello. This is what an october sounds like when you forget to turn it off and you talk. It's kind of like if you were in the witness protection program or whatever, but then they also left your original voice in. And then this is just my plain old boring microphone. Oh, I'm not. For whatever reason, the Facebook comments weren't showing up in my little chat thing. Hello, Rod. It's been a minute since at last stream I had Ava on, who's now in Poland, who's another Weehawken friend. Good to see you, Rod. Thanks for joining in. How's Zach doing? How's everybody doing? Man, I miss you guys. Hey, Clarence. Wow. Thanks, Clarence. Dang. If you don't know who Clarence Banks is, you probably do. Clarence Banks is amazing. So if you're still tuned in, thanks so much for the love, and yeah, that means a lot coming from you, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Clarence Banks is amazing. He's played with. I'm gonna misspeak here, but I'm pretty sure spent a lot of time with the Basie Band and some other. He's a great New York cat. Clarence is awesome. So yeah, thanks, man. That's awesome. Check and see if I've missed anybody else. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey. Joe's on YT, I think is what that is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hey, welcome. I believe, I guess I'll call you Joe. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in. And I'm glad you got here from Chris Bill. Chris Bill is awesome, and he's as you probably know, an amazing player, but also a super cool, great human being. Chris is he's an awesome dude. So yeah, that's fantastic. I'm going to clear out my loops here. There we go. Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, hi Joe. Yeah, thanks for jumping in. It's great to see you. Oh, sweet. Hey, Daisy. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. That's super cool. Super cool. Yeah, it's great. As much fun as this is, just to do, it's like a lot of things. It's better when shared. So it's great to know to see the people are tuning in, and yeah, it's awesome to see you all and to connect with people and reconnect with some people. The last stream or a couple streams ago, I had it was crazy. It was like this huge blast from the past of a lot of people I hadn't really chatted with hardly at all in forever. So it was really amazing to reconnect. It's funny because the pandemic has made so many things that we take for granted, like just completely out of reach. And then, like, at the same time, it's like, I guess the metaphor is like any kind of modern technology that's related to like the internet and stuff. It's made small distances great and great distances small. It's made distance like irrelevant, or changed our whole feeling of what distance even means anymore. In some ways good, some ways not so good, but what an interesting, keep saying this, but what an interesting time to be alive. And oh, that's awesome. Cool, man. You're in 5th grade. My daughter's in 6th grade too. That's great. Yep. And she's also playing trombone, a little bit of piano. She got tired of piano, so she's not playing anymore. But I keep telling her it's a great instrument. But yeah, music's fun. That's awesome. Well, congrats on picking a lovely instrument. Trombone it's amazing. A lot of fun. I'm a little biased. It's a great instrument. It's also the French word for paperclip is also trombone, which I think is hilarious. Dream Mama taught me that. It's great. How old am I? Never had anybody ask me that before. What an interesting question. I'm at the age where now I have to think about it, and I'll leave it at that. Now I have to like count, and it's beyond my fingers and toes. Yeah. I'm old enough. What's the line from I forget what the song is, but there's a line, old enough to know better but young enough to not care. And I feel like that fits most days. But yeah. No, I'm 41 now, believe it or not. And how old are you, Daisy? I'm curious, since I told you. It's one of the reasons why YouTube now has this thing where, like, anytime you have either a live stream or a video, like, you have to go through all these check boxes of, like, is this video made for kids? And do you want to censor it because of sensitive content, so it's only adults or anything? And it's like, I'm all for it. It's really cool, and I don't mind at all. It's a minor hassle, but it's definitely a change. It's cool that they're starting to sort of try to make things age appropriate, and not just have it be a free for all of whoever wants to post whatever can post whatever. Because as a parent now, it's like there's some stuff out there that I don't necessarily want my entire family to be watching necessarily, so that's kind of a neat thing. Hello, the Neimer Play. I remember you from last time. Things are going much better this time, I should tell you. Not having the same technical hiccups that I had last time, so that's a wonderful thing. It's been a good stream so far. Some fun music and once again connecting and reconnecting with some people. So that's been super cool. Yeah, say hi if you're on Facebook. I'm actually I'm using this thing called Restream that's supposed to let me see my comments on Facebook are supposed to show up in Restream, but for whatever reason they're not. So, yeah, whatever. I have the page open now that shows it. So, close enough. Yeah, but say hi if you're on Facebook or wherever. 12. Oh, that's my daughter's almost 12, so that's cool. Yep, and yeah, clarinet. I think you mentioned that last time, Daisy, that you play clarinet. That's cool. Super cool. Yep. Clarinet, actually, when I was in college, so I mentioned last time, I had to, as did all music education majors in college, I had to take a class called Woodwind Techniques, and I had to learn all of the woodwind instruments at some level of competency. You could probably play circles around me now, Daisy, on clarinet. You could probably completely school me. But back in the day, I learned a scale or two. And, but the clarinet professor actually said that I had a pretty decent, natural setup, natural embouchure for clarinet. And it's beautiful, the tones you can get out of it. But that break is a pain in the butt. Oh, that's cool. Well, tell your dad I said hello. And yeah, cool. Hello, Mr. Daisy. Hello, Daisy's dad. Yeah, clarinet is it's great, the tones you can get out of it. Can be so beautiful and so, but also, man, when I talk about sometimes the horn wins, man. Sometimes, whoo, it's hard. It's like any instrument. I feel like wind instruments and string instruments in particular are, I guess all instruments have their own things that are like difficult and easy and forgiving and unforgiving and all that. But okay, Joe, where are you tuning in from? Curious what time zone you're in, because I have a schedule. Just since you got to go, I'll let you know before you leave. I'll be live again Thursday night on the 17th, 2 days from now. Same time, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So if you want to come back then, and I'm also going to be Sunday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're around, feel free to tune in. Idaho. Okay, so you're 2 time zones away then, right? Idaho is mountain, I'm pretty sure. So you're 2 hours behind, so you'd be at 4 o'clock. I see. Okay. Yeah, that's a little early. I'll try to stream long enough that you can catch the end at least if you're not out of school. So cool. Well, I hope to see you on Thursday and maybe Sunday, and I've just started with this schedule too. So if I have a lot of people that are like, oh man, 6 o'clock's terrible, can you do whatever, I can't obviously stream when every single person is online because there's only one of me and I have a family and all that. But anyway, cool. All right, take care, Joe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Do I know about music theory? Yes, I know a decent amount about music theory. I have a master's degree in jazz, so that's a whole other approach to music theory. My kind of conception of music theory is more along the lines of if you're familiar with Charles Cornell and Adam Neely, those guys, they're jazz guys too. So their conception of music theory and music harmony is kind of the way I conceive of it too, in terms of being. I don't think of things in terms of freshman college music theory. I think of it in terms of jazz theory. But yeah, I went through all that stuff. So I'm guessing, Pedro, do you also know some music theory? Are you looking to learn, or where are you tuning in from? What's your tell me a little bit about yourself. I forgot to tell Joe, if he's still there, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified too, because then you'll know next time I'm online, like if it changes or something. And anyway, I don't know if Joe's still here, but if you are, please do subscribe and give me a follow or whatever. And then you'll know next time I'm on. Please explain the musical modes to me. I don't understand. I'm studying them. Oh, well, yeah. So modes are another way of thinking of, here, let me turn my background music off. So the modes are basically different iterations of the same scale. The way I think of modes, and this is the way it was kind of taught to me in terms of my knowledge of theory. So if you've got, let's see, what patch am I on here? Good, I'm glad I noticed. That would have been obnoxious. Okay, so here is, turn my loops back up here. So if you've got like the C major scale, let's say, that's what's called Ionian. That's the Ionian mode, just major. Now I wish I had another camera. See if I can do it up here where you can kind of see. Yeah, there you can see a little. So that's Ionian, and that's just major. If you go up a step, so that's C Ionian. So the way that, again, that I was taught this, and it's easiest to sort of conceive of it for most people that are new to it, is to think of it just using all the white keys, because you can cover pretty much you can cover most of the modes just by doing the white keys. So C Ionian is just C to C, all white keys. That's your normal major scale. If you go up a step, you've got D. This is D Dorian. So that's D minor, but with a raised 6. D natural minor would be with a flatted 6. But Dorian has a raised 6. And so in C, if you took that down and made it, so, both of them, here's Ionian. That's C Ionian or C major. So that's C Dorian. Flat third, raised 6. I played it with a raised 7 too. That's not right. So that's C Dorian. But if we play it in D, it's all the white keys. The next mode up is Phrygian. So that's E Phrygian. So compared to your Ionian major scale, your second is flatted, your third is flatted, and your 6 and your 7 are flatted. So C Phrygian would sound like, oops. Oh, your 5 is flatted too. No, it isn't either. I'm getting confused now. So that's E Phrygian. And then you've got Lydian after that, which is F to F. So F Lydian would sound like this. That would be just like your Ionian major scale, but with a raised 4, sharp 11, sharp 4. So in C Lydian would sound like this. This is sort of like a a real common mode for like film scores. If you've got like a real happy thing happening, Lydian, or sharp 11 is a real common sound in the film score language. Very happy with the sharp 4 there, as you know. Then the one after that is Mixolydian. So G Mixolydian is the same as Ionian, but with a flatted 7. So again, G to G, all white keys, is Mixolydian. And if you did that on C, it would be, yeah. The next one is Aeolian, starts on A, easy to remember. So A to A, all white keys, is Aeolian. And this is just like your natural minor scale. That would be C Aeolian. A Aeolian is. So that's minor 3rd, flat 6, flat 7. Then you've got Locrian. That's what I was getting confused when I was playing the C. I played C Locrian instead of Phrygian. That's C Locrian. So that's flat 2, flat 3, natural 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. And that's Locrian. And that's all the major, or that's all the big time modes, the main modes. Getting old and forgetful. Some kind of chart, a great resource for learning for kind of a crash course in theory, and there's tons of stuff on the internet. But let me see if I can find Jamie Aebersold. If you go to jazzbooks.com, there's where's the red book? Let me see if I can find a link for it. Here, I'll just put a link in the chat. Copy. So that's a ton of information about jazz, but that has, I believe the red book has all your basic kind of jazz theory stuff in there. And I'll actually do his main site. Jamie Aebersold is an amazing, amazing human being, and he has put out some wonderful educational materials. I went to his jazz camps, and I just put the link in the chat, jazzbooks.com. Jamie Aebersold, I went to his music camp, the Jamie Aebersold Jazz Workshops, several times. I think I've been there 3 or 4 times over the years, and every time I learned something. The first time I ever went was like mind-blowing, because it just opened my mind to all the things that I didn't know. It gave me years and years of stuff worth to practice in like a week. It's crazy. But yeah, I've been back several times, and Jamie's just an amazing person. So if you have the opportunity to go to his camp, please go to his camp. If you're at all interested in jazz or just creative music at all, Jamie's camps are amazing. And Jamie's materials, his play-alongs and his books, his theory books, all that stuff that are on that website that I linked to, jazzbooks.com, those are really, really, really amazing music education resources. And in terms of philosophy too, like his philosophy on music is just cool. Jamie's just an amazing guy. He's just amazing. Let's see. What do you think is the most difficult topic on music to study in a university? Oh boy. I'll tell you what is not common in universities. And I was lucky because my professors where I went to school were very career-minded and very pragmatic and very practical. So both of my degrees, both of my schools that I went to, and in high school as well, my music teachers were awesome. They all had a good head on their shoulders about how to use music and what to do with it. But I will tell you that within the academic community, the music academic community in a lot of ways is just kind of catching on to the fact that we need to think of ourselves as business people and think of ourselves as entertainers. Think of this as a business and as a work, as a service that we provide for people. And that is something that mindset, I didn't notice it so much, but I know a lot of my peers have said that, they went to school in places where, like entertainment was a dirty word, and the idea of like playing something for the audience was kind of beneath them. So that is something that I think at the university level you have to be really careful of. And there's room to do all sorts of creative things as a musician, as an artist, as a performer. There's room to do all sorts of creative things, but none of it really means anything if you're not communicating to someone. If you don't have people that are checking out what you're doing, well, what's the point? And I've gotten into some heady philosophical discussions with people about, some people have talked about, there's these great artists that, no one's ever heard of, and, this wonderful composer that wrote all this great music and then locked it in a drawer and no one ever saw it. And it's like, well, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear, did it make a sound, And so if you make music and no one's around to hear, why? So I would, I think that's the most difficult. I wouldn't say the most difficult, but the thing where the academic world is kind of catching up to the music industry. And then like the music industry is hard just because the rules change every 5 minutes, because, up until like the year 2000-ish, we had CDs. Before that there were cassettes and records and all that, but up until 2000 to 2005-ish, give or take, late 90s, early 2000s, we had recorded music that were on a tangible thing that you went to a store and bought, and you brought it home, and then you listened to it. And, the musicians and the composers and the people that made that music that was on that piece of plastic made some money when you gave them $10 or $15 or $20 for the piece of plastic that contained their music. And that was how the music industry worked ever since the recorded music industry was an industry. Dating back to records and maybe wax cylinders, I don't know. But, certainly records, tapes, 8-tracks, CDs, all that, there was an industry about it. And so you could make money if you got, a major label contract, and they would take care of pressing the records and doing all that stuff and doing the publicity and the promotion and mixing your stuff and, doing all the things that a record label does. And you, in return, would make music, and everyone made money, and wasn't maybe the world's perfect solution, but it worked. And then along came the iPod, and then Napster, and Kazaa, and LimeWire, and all these other things, and the music industry, the recorded music industry, pretty much just went away in the space of a couple of years. And ever since then, and I could rant about how the music industry itself and the big record labels made that transition a lot worse than it could have been, because rather than seeing what was happening and figuring out a way to monetize the technology, which now exists, there was a gap of 5 or 10 years between like when Napster happened and when iTunes started to sell music downloads. There was a gap of several years where everyone was getting music for free, and it just became, there was a whole generation of people that was trained to believe that music is free, and the little CD that you buy or the plastic thing that has value, but the music that's on it is worthless. So a whole generation of people learned that, and now that's why Spotify pays like half a cent per stream now, and it's kind of a joke. The streaming, all that stuff is. Anyway, so the music business is probably the toughest part. At least it was for me. For me, like the theory was, I got that. That was fine. Ear training, no problem. Learning to play the horn, that takes a lot of hours, and that's obviously, gaining musical proficiency and learning the language, learning the instrument, learning the muscle memory, learning the mechanics, learning how to play efficiently so you don't hurt yourself, you're not working harder than you need to. That all takes a lot of work and a lot of time. But that was, the music, the industry part of it is the part that I think there's a lot that's we're still figuring out. How to make money doing this and how to make a living doing it. And it seems like there's a new thing that comes along that's like, oh, Spotify, you got to get on all the Spotify playlists. And then that gets saturated. And then there's gatekeepers for the playlists, and then that goes away as a realistic way to make a living. And then it's, then it was, oh, well, recorded music. You can't make any money on recorded music anymore, but now you can support yourself touring. Okay, great. So as opposed to the old music industry model, which was you tour to support your new record, which is the record is what makes money. Up until a couple of months ago, you would put out music on Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and the other streaming services and YouTube and whatever. You put out music videos and stuff, and that was all to support your tour, which the tour was how you made money, which is part of the reason why concerts are so expensive now, because that's how artists make money. And then, a couple months ago, then the pandemic happened, and now we're all like, now what? So, to make a short story very, very long, Pedro, I would say the business side of it is the part that we're all figuring out. We're all figuring it out together, and that's something that if you're studying music in a university, I would pay special attention to that. I would hang out with people that are in the music industry program. I would hang out with people that are in other disciplines. So if you're a jazz major, I would hang out with film scoring guys or classical guys, or if you're in the orchestral, if you're studying orchestral trombone, I would get hip with a little bit of jazz, learn, get at least a little bit of stylistic diversity. It's not to say that you're going to necessarily master every style, because that's darn near impossible. But it gives you some versatility, and it also gives you some understanding. And when you're writing music, it gives you a more broad palette to draw from. So you have more of a chance of having a unique voice as a musician. I think the more narrowly we study, the more we pigeonhole ourselves into, hoping for a job that's never going to come. I think there's a lot of the traditional avenues of kind of like regular employment it's fiercely competitive. Not to say there aren't any jobs, not to say that you can't make a living, winning an audition and being in a major symphony, or, getting a job in the military or something. Those jobs exist, but it's highly competitive. So it's good to broaden your palette and broaden your horizons to think beyond that as, oh, I'm going to get out of school and I'm going to win an audition and then I'll be set. That's true for a very small percentage of people, and for the rest of us, we got to figure something else out. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a random guy ranting on the internet, I guess, but that's been my experience. There's a lot of luck, but there's also a lot of, be versatile and be able to say yes when something comes along, and, then do something that's worth listening to, How many instruments do I know how to play? Well, that's like at a high level, trombone, bass trombone, a bit of euphonium. I play a little bit of bass, which is, this guy over here. I have a fretless bass. I don't play it very much, which is why you haven't seen me play it on the stream yet. I have a cajon here, which is like a box drum. I can play that a little. A tambourine. I mean, that's not a highly skilled. A tambourine, though, if you're not playing it well, it's obvious to everyone else. So it's good to be solid on tambourine. I have these little kashishis, so I play a little bit of toy percussion, but yeah, I don't call myself a percussionist by any stretch. Play some keyboards as my first instrument. When I was 4 years old, I started piano. I never studied it seriously enough, so I never, I couldn't like play Rachmaninoff or Chopin or anything crazy like that, but I can play a few chords and a few melodies here and there on piano. So, yeah, trombone, bass trombone, euphonium, bass, kinda, keyboards, kinda, yeah, a little bit of toy percussion. I just bought a guitar. I never played guitar, but now I want to learn, so now I have a guitar. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. So hopefully I'll be adding to that number. Yeah, I can play a handful anyway. But yeah, so I hope that's somewhat answers the questions and is kind of helpful. And I hope I didn't scare anybody off too much with all the ranting about the music industry, because it's literally changing all the time. So I would just say, again, my advice to any young person who's getting into music would be, hang out with people who are in bands, hang out with people who are studying the business side of it, hang out with, if you know someone who's a music manager who's really good at it, someone who is booking bands or someone who knows how to do promotion or publicity for music. Those are good people to know what they're doing, and they're just good people to know, because you never know who might write an article in a magazine about some music that you're doing, or someone who might know someone who writes for a big newspaper who might be interested in what you're doing, or someone knows someone who's at NPR who's going to put you on, Tiny Desk or All Things Considered or something like that. It's good to have connections for your music to go places. Having said that, it's also, if you look at a band like Snarky Puppy, they've kind of succeeded just because their music is amazing. And I'm a big fan, and I'll gush about them forever, but they were able to find a following just based on their music being awesome. But it was a slog for them too. Michael Leake has talked in many articles and many interviews and stuff about how, they didn't just, there's a saying, and it's held true for many, many people in music and other creative disciplines that I know of, that is the idea of working for decades or working for years and years to become an overnight success. So, a lot of people, and bands like Snarky Puppy is a great example of a band that seemingly came out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, who are these guys? They're amazing. But there was probably 5 or 10 years of solid hard work and self-discovery and playing for nobody and all kinds of stuff that preceded what they have now. They're becoming more of a household name, and they're have a huge following, and they have festivals and stuff. So they worked for a very, very long time, and they were very dedicated, and they didn't give up. That's great, Daisy, and it's great to have some versatility. As I mentioned before, it's cool to know multiple instruments. The downside of that can be, you can be sort of a jack of all trades and a master of none, where, you never really totally get proficient on any one instrument. But I think the younger you start, the less likely that is. I think that, my feeling is that the more instruments you check out, my experience has been that the more instruments you check out and even just learn a little bit of, it makes you better at your home instrument, your primary instrument too. It's a little bit like languages, you learn a few phrases. When I was on the road with Cirque du Soleil, we learned a little bit of languages, just a few phrases for every place that we went to. And I found it it did improve my conception of language in general, my the way I thought about, the way I used English and the way that I just thought about communication in general. So, I think that's an awesome thing, and it's a very useful thing to check out, like bass clarinet or E flat alto clarinet or any of the other clarinets in the family. That's a very cool thing to do. I mean, if it's your third year, it's maybe a little early to be like going crazy with that, but I would say let your curiosity lead you where it leads you at this stage. And, it's not a bad thing to pick up those other skills and find the sounds that you like and find, what you like to play. And then do tons of that. Piano is a wonderful instrument as a foundation. It's a wonderful instrument on its own, obviously. You can be a pianist and you can do anything almost. From, Billy Joel to Mozart to, just tons. You could do, those dueling piano bars. You could play and sing and that kind of stuff. Piano's an amazing instrument. But it's also great foundationally, just because everything about music is laid out visually right in front of you, high and low and what the intervals are and white keys and black keys. And it's a really great visual representation of the notes just laid out right in front of you. So it's a cool instrument on its own, but it's also great foundationally as a performer on another instrument, or especially as a composer or arranger, anything like that. It's great to have some piano skills. Highly, highly recommend that. And of course, I'm a brass guy. That's where my heart is trombone and low brass in particular. So I would always persuade people to check out low brass because it's fun. It's great. Debating whether to play one more thing or not. Should I play something else? Or should we wind it down? Hey, thank you, Nymer. Thank you, the Nymer Play. Do you prefer to be called by like your full handle, or can I just call you Nymer? I'm gonna call you Nymer. So thanks, Nymer. Appreciate it. Take care. We'll see you next time. Again, that's Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern and Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern. So I hope to see you one of those times. So thanks again. A little recorder, keyboard, and Oh, I have a ukulele too. Ukulele's fun. You ever see a sad person play a ukulele? No, it's great. Cool instrument. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, recorder's gonna make clarinet. Okay, Nymer, you got it. Cool. Peace out, Nymer. We'll see you next time. Recorder's definitely going to make clarinet a lot easier. The fingering system is fairly similar, and all right, take care. The fingering system is very similar, and even the way you hold the instrument is, quite similar, of course, as you know, between the two instruments. The difference being the embouchure and the flow and dealing with the reed and versus not having a reed. Obviously, you've experienced how different that is. So that it's not exactly the same. Clarinet has got some back pressure to it, and recorder you have to just blow very gently, or you overblow the horn. It's interesting. Like I said, the more instruments you learn, the more of that stuff you check out. The more you see the similarities and the differences between what you're playing in it. I think it all reinforces itself. It all contributes to a pool of musical knowledge, and it eventually leads to you finding your musical voice. The more of that stuff that you learn, and you spend more time on the stuff you like, but you still check out and respect the things that maybe you just because you don't dedicate all of your focus to something doesn't mean that it's not there in your mind as part of your voice too. So it's good to check out all that stuff and absorb as much as you can into your ears and your mind, and it all makes you better. It all makes you a better musician, and a better appreciator of music and musicians, your fellow musicians too. So that's awesome. What do you think? Should I play one more thing, or should I call it a night? It's almost 8 o'clock. It's been almost 2 hours. Wow. So there's a few people still on. Maybe I'll play one more thing. Yeah. Yeah. I'll play on that. And then that's been there in the background. I'll solo over that a little bit. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, Daisy, thanks again for tuning in. We'll hope to catch you Thursday. Yeah, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, had a little bit of relaxation. Yeah, and a little chatting about random stuff in the music industry. Hope it didn't scare anybody off or irritate anybody. Just random musings of a random trombone player on the internet. Take it for what it's worth. But I hope you dug the music, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. And I hope to see you coming up soon. Again, I'll be live on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern in the U.S. And Sunday at 2 p.m. in the U.S. Eastern. And I'm also, if you enjoy what you're hearing enough to leave a tip, leave a donation, feel free if the spirit moves you. I'm going to keep making music either way, so feel free to not. Also, if you're not able, not willing, hate what I'm doing, hopefully not. But yeah, feel free to throw. I'll leave a link here. One of the cool things about the Twitch setup and the OBS setup that I have is that it actually does a little notification if you do a donation, so that's pretty nifty. If you go to this website here, streamlabs.com/JimLutzMusic. If you make a donation there while I'm streaming, it'll actually pop up a little notification, and it'll even, I think it makes noise too. I'll do a sample one here. Kind of a loud notification, actually. But there you go. So that's kind of a nifty thing. And also, if you are interested in seeing some of my more produced stuff, multi-track trombone arrangements, playing all kinds of different crazy instruments, and if you go to my YouTube channel, which some of you are watching right from my YouTube channel, but if you're not there, I'll put that link in too. .com/JimLutzMusic. Yeah. So there you'll find all kinds of stuff. I'm on Facebook too. Facebook.com/JimLutzMusic. JimLutzMusic.com. I'll leave that in there too. So there's all my links. And I'm also, big shout out before I sign off. I forgot to mention, I can't believe I forgot earlier. But a big shout out and a huge thank you to my Patreon patrons. That's another thing that I was going to put a link to. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it is a platform where people like me can put up creative content, and it's not just musicians, it's also artists, webcomics, authors, people put out news broadcasts, podcasters. There's all kinds of stuff on Patreon. Basically, it's a platform where people who really, really super duper enjoy a creator and what they're doing can pledge to them. It's a little bit like Kickstarter, except that it's it's like a subscription-based model, where Kickstarter is like you donate, I need $10,000 to make an album, then you try to raise the money to get the album. That's Kickstarter. Patreon, which I'm on, is an ongoing subscription thing. So like when I make a new YouTube video, you can pledge to give me $1 or $5 or $10 or even $100 if you want. And then with that, this is where it's like Kickstarter. It gives you various perks that go along with the different tiers, different pledge levels. So, $100 patrons, for example, get a one-on-one lesson or Skype chat or video chat or hangout or phone call. and I think I have that set up for once a month that you get that. And $20 will get you stems and sheet music, and for the stuff that I'm doing, you can get like the raw audio files of what I'm doing. And 10 will get you, I forget what's at the $10 level. I think that $10 gets you the like rough drafts, and so like I'll send progress reports of stuff that I'm working on, so you can hear like rough mixes and like works in progress. So it's kind of, some people like that. Anyway, so feel free to check that out. Here's the link for that too. I'll put that in the chat. I'm trying to type one-handed because I'm holding the mic. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Twitch. You're all great. And thanks again to my Patreon supporters. My patrons on Patreon make all this possible. They're funding all my crazy hijinks, so you have them to blame for all of this. So thanks, patrons. I appreciate all of you tuning in. I appreciate all you do. And thanks to everybody. We'll take care. We'll check in later. We'll see you hopefully Tuesday and or Sunday, and coming up after that. Take care. Bye-bye.